Alright, it is that time once again to cover another massive MTG Arena patch, and this one is really quite extensive. I'm gonna try to break the video down to be as short as possible while covering the most important parts. Anyway, let's get started. So first we have rank 1.0. I'll be covering this a bit later together with a matchmaking update. But for now, all you need to know is the ranks have been resetted, and we have a new system with a monthly reward where you get a few packs depending on rank, etc. Basically, it will be like all other card games: play, climb, get reward at the end, get resetted, and climb again. Nothing new there, but I'll be covering the entire post a bit later. Same with a matchmaking update, it will be slightly changed but nothing too massive. Anyway, let's move on to the phase ladder. Basically, the icons for the turns now look different. They are actually a bit smaller and there's a bit more animation to them. Personally, I don't like it at all. I find the icons to be a bit too small and the animation gets really annoying after a while, at least for me. But it's mainly just a visual update. Now this fourth part shouldn't affect too many people. It was a problem that plagued some people, and what happened was that their account didn't proper merge in the database, and all of a sudden they will find themselves having their account reset, and their compensation, well, it was not the best. There was a post about it on Reddit a couple of weeks ago, but most of you shouldn't have to worry about this now at all. I'm guessing they're just trying to clear up any remaining accounts that might be affected by this database problem. Moving on, they added RU as a supported language, so I guess we can now write funny characters to each other. Can I change my name? Alright, in this part I'll be covering the new ranking system and give some of my thoughts. Alright, so just like every other card game, we now have a ranking system that lasts for about a month, and after the month has ended, you get reward depending on your rank. And as you can see, the best reward is Mythic 5, where you get 5 packs and a bit of gold. Here we can see how many points we need in order to move up to the next tier or rank. So for bronze it's just 4 points, and in diamond it's 7 points. You can also see that in the earlier ranks you get 2 points for winning, while in the later ranks you get just 1 point. I'm guessing they just want people who are actually a lot better to move on to the later ranks a bit faster, and probably to save time when you have to reclimb in a month's time. And of course, once you have climbed out of diamond, you reach mythic, and eventually you'll be able to see where you're standing in the world in the top 1000 if you get that far. So basically, just like other card game system. Now there's another important part right here, and that is that ranked for now will be best of 1 and not best of 3, and the reason they are giving is right here, that as of now in the open beta, 97% of all the games have been best of 1 games. So basically everyone is playing best of 1, and most people don't feel comfortable playing best of 3s, or maybe they just don't have enough card for the sideboard, or maybe don't have the time to sit down for an entire best of 3. Maybe they just prefer watching best of 3 but actually want to play best of 1s. And here you can see what rank you get the next month after finishing the previous month. So if you get to gold tier 1, you're gonna start the next month in silver tier 2. Pretty basic. Another important part to mention is that you receive rewards both in constructed ranked and in draft ranked, which means if you play both, you will get more rewards towards the end of the month. Basically, they have added a carrot just to make you try both modes, and that's about it. Moving on, they changed a couple of names. Best of 3s are now called traditional, and that's about it. And here comes the most important / controversial part that people will probably complain about quite a lot. So what have they done that might upset people quite a lot? Well, they increased the gold that you require to enter the event, and they are also removing the random cards you're getting from the event. So basically it's gonna be more expensive in order to enter the event. they are citing here, the problem they had with the system was that new players took their new player decks into the constructed events, and the win rates were, as you might expect, not great. So basically, there will be a lot fewer seals in the events. So no more seal farming. I know a lot of better people did use it just to farm the random cards because you did meet quite a lot of seals. Basically, we can blame certain content creators who recommended that new players should go and play the events. Thank you guys for ruining the best seal farming events ever. So sad, even though I never really used it. Anyway, snarky comments aside, they're also removing apparently the random card reward from the format and instead gonna increase the gold from the paid events. Of course, you're still gonna be able to earn your daily random cards and probably from some other events, but basically they don't want the paid constructed best of ones and best of threes to be Seal Club heaven anymore. And that wraps up this entire post. There might have been a few things I skipped, but most of them were quite minor, such as the naming and a bit of history here and there. Alright, it's time to talk about the matchmaking breakdown. Now, this one is really long, and I'm gonna try to summarize it as best as I can. Alright, first off, they're talking about the different things they can use in order to create matchmaking. Obviously, they don't use all of these in every single queue, but a combination of them. Anyway, let's move on. Right here, they're just talking about what I just said, basically how they try to use the different system in order to create a matchmaking rank. They are also saying right here that they are breaking this down into 3 different categories. So you will have open play MMR, constructed MMR, and limited MMR. So basically, if you never played limited, but you are really good at constructed, you are gonna have a fresh MMR for the limited events. Basically, so you don't get stumped, and obviously if you're a new player, you are not gonna face people who has tons and tons of experience in a certain format that is using this MMR. Alright, let's get into the different formats we now have. First off, we have play, which is best of 1, which is what we had before, and this is gonna use open play, it's gonna use games played, and the deck weight or deck power, as I like to call it. One important thing to notice is right here, and they're saying, quote, once the queue has matched players within a similar open player MMR range, we will do a secondary check that takes into consideration the deck they are playing. So basically they are trying to reduce the number of mirror matches you have. Although as of late, I don't think I ran into like that many mirrors when it comes to starter decks and low power decks. I wonder how this is gonna play out with if I play nothing but Teferi. Is it gonna be nothing but Teferi and Drakes then? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Secondly, they will look at the last 50 games or up to 50 games to determine a bit of the matchmaking. I'm guessing it's just to protect new players from being matched up against more experienced players. And that pretty much concludes how the new play best of 1 will work. Anyway, let's move on to traditional play, also known as best of 3s. This will use the open play MMR, but it will not use the previous 50 games, and it will not use the deck weight or deck power, as I like to call it. Try to recall that the MMR is now tied between these two, so if you're spiking really hard in one of them, your other one will be affected as well. Anyway, let's move on to ranked, and as we can see right here, it will use your rank together with a constructed MMR, which is not the same as open play MMR, so basically they will be in 2 separate MMR brackets, which makes sense. There's nothing else really to say about the new rank MMR system. Then we have ranked draft, and as you can see here, we are gonna use rank, win-loss record, and limited MMR, which again is separate from open play MMR and constructed MMR. Basically, once again, just to protect new players so they don't get absolutely slaughtered by more experienced players. And do remember, this is best of 1. Moving on, we have traditional draft or best of 3, and this one will only use a win-loss record, so if you're a new player, stay away from this unless you want to throw away money, because people who play here will be really experienced. Basically what they're saying right here, they want to keep a format that has nothing but win-loss records or MMR, rather than having anything else affecting this particular format. Then we have sealed. Now here again we have loss win record and limited MMR. And do remember, limited MMR shares with, where are you? The ranked draft limited MMR. That's quite important to remember what MMR goes with what other play format. Let's move to constructed events, and this one is not changing either. And as they're saying right here, as with traditional draft, we do believe there is a place in Arena for events that only look at the participating players' win-loss record. And once again, they are citing that people brought their new player decks into this format, which kinda made it a Seal Club heaven, but for any new player, it was just pure frustration. Again, thank you, random content creator who recommended this format for new players. You ruined a gold mine for everyone, and you pissed off new players. Anyway, opinions aside, they're once again stating that the new players would be facing people who used Pro Tour decks or really good decks, and they also had the theory that it was because of the random card rewards that you could get. So by removing the random card reward and upping the price, they are hoping to discourage new players from going into this format and to keep this format for people who actually really are trying to improve or trying to play proper Magic, if I can say it like that. It's very easy to forfeit a best of 3 when you have nothing to lose, compared to a best of 3 where you have put some gold or real money into it. And as I said earlier, by removing the random cards, they're also upping the gold you can earn as a prize. So basically this format should be more competitive now and not just a Seal Club heaven. Let's move on to traditional constructed, and as previously, this will use win-loss record, and just as with the constructed event best of 1, they are removing the random cards and upping the gold. And finally, we do have the special events, and they're gonna stay the same, just be a win-loss record. Anyway, that concludes it, and let's move over to the FAQ and let's see if they are any good. Otherwise, I will conclude the video right here. And that concludes this entire video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, I publish new videos, sometimes dailish, so subscribe if you're interested in more Magic the Gathering content, together with some random other card game content and maybe some boats here and there. But until then, I see you in the next one. This is Project signing out.